All right. Here we are. We are live. It is September 14th, 2021, and we are here with the live broadcast for you guys. We're going to be talking about quite a few things today, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to be discussing the Texas replacing New York as a key U.S. financial hub, which I think is very interesting news because New York has been a financial hub for us dating back to the very, very beginnings of our foundation as a nation. And this is a big move. This is something that cannot be underestimated the importance of and why I wanted to talk to you about it today. At the end of today's live stream, I'll be talking to you about another move in the global gold markets and how that may affect both London, New York, and Chicago exchanges as well. We'll be getting into that. I'm going to be showing you a live poll question I have up on Twitter regarding corporate taxes, and we're going to discuss that on the program as well. Of course, we are going to answer your questions. So if you're here, as I see several people are, Kristen Rowe is here, Neil Hahn, Stray Dog at Play are all in the chat. Leave your questions below. I will answer them. You can also super chat if you want to grab my attention. I'd be happy to answer those questions for you as well. We're going to let a few minutes go by to allow people to get into the live stream, allow YouTube to notify people, allow our emails to go out. G-Dog Bull, how you doing, buddy? Good to see you here. Good to see everybody here. It's been a little while since we've done one of these live. I'm going to do more of these. I really enjoy them. Several things we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about how not only is Texas becoming a gold epicenter, but potentially a market epicenter in the U.S. Very important topic. We're also going to show you Dumb Money Media's latest meme video, which I think is really cool about the Federal Reserve. So stay tuned for that. That will be in there. And again, we're going to be talking about the live Twitter poll question I have on corporate tax rates. Should the U.S. raise their tax rates like the Democrats are suggesting in Congress? Mutant Ryef is here. Thank you for joining. Grow Mechanic is here. T. Corsi is here. Lots of people joining the stream. Good to see everybody. So glad that you guys are here. And I'm enjoying my time, of course. I love doing the live streams, so this is a whole lot of fun. I'm just going to get all my stuff set up here while the stream loads, and we will get right into it. How is your day going, guys? You let me know how your day and your week is going. And if you have questions, drop those down and we will get those answered. Michael Arturoia is here. So I'm not saying your name correctly. How do you say that? Aotearoa. That's an awesome name, by the way. Thank you so much. Dumb Money Media, thank you so much for making the contribution. He says, hell yeah, thanks, man. I got something cooking right now, too. It's about 45% done. I love his videos. We're going to play those on the channel every time. It's awesome. Grow Mechanic said he's had an awesome week so far. That's good to hear, Grow Mechanic. Glad you're having a good one. I'm having a good one, too. I just got off of about 3 straight weeks of travel, and I have to admit I'm kind of tired. But it's okay. It's a good sort of tired. Those of you who have watched Twitter, been watching my Twitter feed, know that I posted about my daughter's 18th birthday. And I would travel with her occasionally to help her out with work because she was a minor and she needed an adult there. She's now 18 years old, so I finally get to come home after 2 years of being on and off the road with her. It's an absolute wonderful thing to be able to spend that much time with my daughter and to enjoy her and watch her do what she does. But I have to admit, it does take a toll. So I'm nice to be back here, in studio, as you guys can see at home, and happy to be here. Ray Kyle is here. Jack Halloween is here. Big Mike Patriot is here. Hey, Rob from Florida. Hey, Big Mike. How you doing, buddy? Good to see you. Good to see people from the South joining the program. All right. This is going to be the Gold Silver Pros live stream where we broadcast from the great state of Texas and we take no bullshit from anybody. Today, we're talking about the Texas Bullion Depository. So we're going to get right into it. Oh, and I've got a couple announcements about the conference and our giveaways. I'm finally back in town, so I'm going to mail those out. We'll announce that at the end too. Silver Stalker says, thank you, Rob. Loving accumulating cheap. Yeah, I agree with you. It's good to accumulate the metal cheap. I've got a little bit of metal here with me. Let's show off some of these Buffalo rounds that I have that are really pretty that I got from, where did I get this from? I think I got this from a local dealer recently. I believe so. And it's got like a cool buffalo on back. Nice look. I love this coin, actually. Got a whole stack of them. And I'll announce where these are going. These are going to be the giveaways from the conference. We'll talk about that later. All right, let's get into the presentation. This is what you guys are here for. Texas replacing New York as a key U.S. financial hub, and that includes gold, but it's not just gold. It's a lot more than that. Let's jump right into it. So I actually did a presentation for you guys today. This is going to be a fancy one. We're getting all fancified using our very beautiful PowerPoint Here we go. So the title of this presentation is Gold Trade Moving to Texas. Big changes ahead in the financial system. We'll make this available for download after the presentation. I'll have one of my assistants do it. And on the last page of this presentation are all the links that we're referring to. So you'll be able to click those links and read those stories for yourself. So don't worry about that for right now. That'll be available to you guys later. Then just focus on the news and what's going on. So the title here is Texas Becoming a Financial Powerhouse. And there are four main points that we're going to make here. One, that the Texas Bullion Depository goes global. It is not just for Texas citizens or U.S. citizens. It's for everywhere. In other words, Texas just became a major worldwide gold trading hub. And if you don't believe they can do it, you don't know Texas very well. We like to do things big. And people, this is a travel destination. It is a travel hub, a business hub, a financial hub. And now it's going to be a gold hub. And it will not surprise me if Texas starts storing a lot of bullion from overseas, international, as well as domestic people. I read from the comptroller, who basically is responsible for the bullion depository, at least regulation of it, that the average person putting bullion into the Texas Bullion Depository has $140,000. So we're talking high net worth individuals who can afford that, or at least people have been saving for a very long time. So it's attracting some very well-to-do people from around the world. That'll be part of the presentation. Wall Street considers moving to Texas, and they're very serious. They've met with the Texas governor about moving some of the financial markets to Texas. This is a big one. That's huge. You just don't up and move a global stock exchange from New York to Texas, without seriously considering why you're doing that. This is a huge sea shift in financial centers in the United States. And if it moves out of New York, that I would imagine, the famous Wall Street, all the movies around that, all of the culture, all of the trading and all of that stuff, to see a financial center move out of New York is almost unfathomable. It's just such a part of our culture, just like pizza and baseball, right? We have Wall Street. That's just going to be amazing. A new tier 1 data center investment coming to Texas. So there are companies investing in these tier 1 data centers because they know that financial centers and finance is moving to Texas, as well as a lot of big global powerhouse companies are moving to Texas as well. That's one bullet point I didn't put on here that we can talk about actually before we get in the presentation, is that a lot of big companies are moving to Texas. Toyota has centralized U.S. operations here in Plano, Texas, not too far from where I live. Lots of other companies are doing the same thing. And that's why so many people are coming to Texas, because you have jobs. At first, it's a relatively cheap standard of living in the U.S., but tons of jobs. There's lots of reasons to come to Texas. All right, so now we have something. This is from the comptroller. And again, the links to this, as well as everything else in the presentation, are on the last page. Don't worry about it for now. But this is from Texas Comptroller, and this is an article right on their website, Fort Knox replacement, or a Fort Knox competitor, perhaps I should say. In summer of 2018, Texas began operating the nation's only state-run bullion depository, a highly secure, government-backed storage facility comparable to the U.S. Bullion Depository in Fort Knox, Kentucky, which holds federal gold reserves. And we'll get into a moment why it's comparable to Fort Knox. Now, the Texas Bullion Depository, or TXBD for short, which experienced a surge of deposits during the earlier phases of the global coronavirus pandemic, aims to provide its services to a wider range of clientele and to make lasting impacts that extend well beyond the Texas border. And you can see the gold globe here. It's a globe for a reason. It's worldwide. Texas is becoming a financial powerhouse in the gold market, as well as some other markets. We're going to get into that. Let's continue through the presentation. So again, Texas Comptroller website, you can see the URL here, and you can see it on the last page of the presentation. And I should have highlighted these two paragraphs at the bottom. It says, in this issue, we examine the Texas Bullion Depository, which is open for business in Leander, Texas. The Comptroller's office is responsible for its oversight and partners with Lone Star Tangible Assets to manage the facility's daily operations. When the Texas Bullion Depository was preparing to launch in 2017, officials declared it would be an alternative to depositories located primarily in and around New York for precious metals owners seeking a storage vault. That's still true, but since then, TXBD has matured in important ways. And if you follow this link, which we will, it gets into details. So I've heard replacing New York depositories an alternative to Fort Knox. Okay. This is no small potatoes, ladies and gentlemen. The signaling that you're getting here is that there is a massive shift in where gold is trusted and stored in the U.S. out of Fort Knox, which I believe is in Kentucky, and New York and the trading hubs to Texas and the Texas Bullion Depository. This is big. This is as big as or bigger than the state of Texas itself. This is not news to be ignored. This is huge. Now, for all of you following my Basel videos, I talked about moving away from the London market and the BIS. That's, over in the UK and Europe. Now we're talking about moving the financial center out of New York and putting it in Texas, at least the gold so far. We're going to talk about other financial centers. Okay, this is a worldwide movement to realign some of these markets out of their traditional havens. Why do you do that? Because you break control. You break control from vested interest and you move it somewhere else and you create a new control or a new vested interest. Who's going to be the new vested interest? I don't think it's going to be the governor of the state of Texas or even the people of the state of Texas. It's going to be somebody else using this bullion depository in Texas. And that'll be the interesting question that I want to follow as we go along here in the preceding months and years. Who's controlling this? Who are the quote unquote powers that be that want this to happen, and why do they want it to happen? That's the interesting tidbits. That's the juicy stuff that I love to get into when I get into this stuff. This is fun stuff. I love it. This is good. Or at least keep going. Whoops. I fast forwarded too fast. Let's go back up. So that was the last slide. Now we have, again, from the same comptroller website, look at how this compares to other vaults, other serious professional vaults where gold is stored. The new facility has two storage options, a class 3 vault, the highest security level, that can hold up to 12 million ounces of gold, platinum, or palladium, and a highly secure storage area that can hold more than 17.5 million ounces of silver. They're going to hold almost 30 million ounces of metal. Multiply that by gold and silver's prices and tell me how much that is. Man, that's massive. LSTA President Matt Ferris says silver is not stored in class 3 vaults because it takes up more space. Well, that makes sense. Okay. A shoebox full of gold bars is worth millions. Compared to a truckload of silver, it might be worth 600K. So silver gets a little bit less security around it because of its relative value. I wonder how that would change if we run into a massive silver shortage and that gold silver ratio goes more favorable silver. They may think long and hard about that and start putting some of that silver in the level 3 or the class 3 vault. It says here, during the regular legislative session ended in May, the 87th legislature authorized the Texas Public Finance Authority and the Bond Review Board to sell and issue bonds to finance the comptroller's acquisition of a facility from LSTA if the company decides to sell. This legislation seeks to address the long-term needs of the Texas Bullion Depository by preserving state access to a purpose-built facility, essential for depository operations. Notice what we immediately transitioned to in this article. Not only is it a world-class gold and silver storage vault, they're talking about commodities trading. Okay, this is different, ladies and gentlemen, than just storing your gold somewhere. They're talking about turning this into a commodities derivative trading hub to replace what in the US? Gee, I don't know, the COMEX? In the world of financial trading, the article says, stock markets may readily come to mind. Well, we'll get to stock markets in a minute. That's a bit of foreshadowing. We're not just talking commodities markets and derivative markets. We're talking stock markets moving to Texas. Arguably, more activity occurs daily in the commodities exchange market. Food is one common class of commodities trading. Billions of dollars in agricultural products ranging from coffee to beef are traded daily in commodity exchange markets, which helps set prices for consumers. Okay, sounds good, makes sense. Why are we talking commodities all of a sudden when we were just talking about the Texas Bullion Depository? In the same article, it cannot be more clear what they're trying to do here. Commodities trading also includes metals, which hold both industrial and economic value. One of the largest exchanges in the US for trading COMEX, they name it in the article. They name the target in the article. They're going after the COMEX, which originally stood for Commodity Exchange when it was founded in 1933, operates in New York. Talk about moving the bullion depositories from New York. Now they're talking about moving the derivative trading from New York. Okay, see, because the Texas Bullion Depository wasn't just for people to safely store their bullion. It's a bullion depository to support the commodities markets by design from the beginning, according to the comptroller of Texas's website. This is the government website, straight from the horse's mouth. They're not mincing words at all here. COMEX licenses 7 depository vaults in New York City, which the Texas Bullion Depository is set to replace or compete with, according to the legislator we quoted before, and 2 vaults in Delaware. COMEX rule states that depositories must be located at a 150-mile radius of New York City. Well, you're going to have within probably the same thing, 150 miles or whatever the rule will be, where the derivatives trading will be, where this Texas Bullion Depository is. So you're going to see the trading come right to Texas. It's amazing. You do a little research, what you find out. And the fact that they're talking about this so explicitly. I mean, they're moving the commodities trading out of New York into Texas. That's what they want to do. The question is who's ultimately behind it and who profits from it. That's the question we're going to see over time. I have some clues, but I'm not going to, or some thoughts. I'm not going to say anything right now. We'll get into that later. So continuing down that same article, same website, commodities trading includes metal. Oh, sorry, we talked about that. This paragraph right here. With the TXBD in operation, a push is building in Texas. A push from who? It doesn't identify who, although it does identify State Rep Giovanni Capriglione. I'm sorry, Giovanni Capriglione. So he's the state representative, but who's behind him? Who's telling him to do this? Who's the big financial interest? That's what I want to know. A push is building in Texas for commodities trading options outside of New York. Really? Where did that come from? According to State Rep Giovanni Capriglione, the author of a bill that created the Texas Bullion Depository, Texas is ideally positioned both geographically and economically to become an epicenter for commodities trading. And they even give you this little definition of liquidity. Okay. They're going to define things for people so they can get used to it. They're giving you definitions. They're telling you what they're doing. They're telling you the reasons why to condition people for the big move. Now, when is this big move happening? I don't know, but it is afoot, ladies and gentlemen. And they're not stopping at gold and silver or the rest of the commodities in terms of derivatives. Oh no, there's more. But before I get into that, I'm going to stop the share. I'm going to go and see if you guys have questions. Lots of people. Ooh, we got 105 people in. We're doing very well. Welcome everybody to the program. Fubier is here. Full name, like that name, is here. IL Prepper, I guess it's Illinois Prepper, are here. Lots of people. T Corsi, I think I mentioned you already. Lots of people in the chat. Everybody get your questions down in here. Chaz is here. Welcome to the chat. Neil Curry is here. We're going to go see if you guys have any questions. Well, here's a comment from Illinois Prepper. Chicago downtown and near neighborhood real estate prices falling fast, sellers overwhelming real estate agents. That could be. Maybe they're trying to get out. And that's where one of the CME Group markets is, by the way, is in Chicago, the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, I think. Let's see. I think the industry demand and making the banks pucker, that could be. You guys, today is, I don't see any questions. All right, I'm not seeing any questions, guys. Put them down there. Put them down there. Oh, yeah, somebody made a comment. 51 watching, 21 likes. Yeah, I don't think the numbers are correct in terms of watches and views on YouTube. I think that's broken, but we're just going to leave that alone because there's not much we can do about it. And we'll get back into the presentation. It's all good. I'm just glad you guys are here and having a good time with me. And I appreciate you guys being here with me. All right, we're going to go back to presentation mode if I can. All right, here we go. So we've talked about gold and derivatives moving to Texas from New York. Let's talk about something else. Let's talk about, but wait, there's more. Governor Greg Abbott to meet with NASDAQ, one of the premier stock markets in the US, with all the technology companies, by the way, or most of the major technology companies, other stock exchange officials November 20th. So it doesn't stop with just NASDAQ. Other stock exchange, how many stock exchanges do we have in the US? There's only a few, okay, really big ones at least, and they're all meeting Governor Greg Abbott in Texas to cut deals. This was in KSAT, which is a local newspaper. And again, the link is on the last page of the presentation, so you don't have to worry about typing this out real quick. We'll post this within the next day or two. We'll post this presentation for you guys. And here's in the KSAT story, reporting from Dallas, officials from NASDAQ and other major stock exchanges to meet with Governor Greg Abbott on November 20th, this is last year, in Austin to discuss a possible move from New Jersey to Texas. NBC DFW said, that's the local Dallas-Fort Worth NBC affiliate, and the Dallas Morning News, which is the major newspaper in Dallas. The meeting comes on the heels of exchanges threatening to move their trading platforms out of New Jersey, the report said. Oh, so they're threatening to move out. Why? We're going to see what New York is doing to basically force out the exchanges. Now, the question I have here, it's going to be a tax policy change. A question I have here is, would New York State be this stupid to make this tax policy change and actually move this out, or is somebody pressuring them to do it? In other words, are they putting the tax increases in place intentionally to force the hand of the exchanges because they want it to move? Is it an incentive, like a backdoor incentive? It could be, or I should say backhanded incentive. According to the Dallas Morning News, Abbott's office has been talking with NASDAQ and other exchanges about moving their data centers to Dallas because of potential tax on financial transactions in New Jersey. The proposed tax would charge 1/4 cent per financial transaction at entities in New Jersey that process at least 10,000 transactions annually via electronic infrastructure, the Dallas Morning News reported. The tax would generate estimated $10 billion for the state. That's actually for New Jersey, I'm sorry. So New Jersey wants to tax to create $10 billion. Why? Because that's all they know how to do is spend and tax. But I wonder if they were encouraged to by certain parties who want to facilitate this move to Texas. Are they just threatening it? Are they actually going to do it? I think they're actually going to do it. But exchange as in multiple moving to Texas. Okay, moving the gold and the commodity derivative exchanges is one thing. Moving stock markets is another. All of this going on at the same time. Why is Texas being chosen? Why is my home state being chosen? What are the reasons? What is the design? What is the real design under all this? I don't know. I'm just looking at the surface. The news is being reported. There is something major going on. And at the same time, over in the UK and Europe, Basel III, which I think the more I look at it, and I've said this over several videos, I think it's to take the gold, silver, platinum, and palladium stranglehold that London has overseas out of London and move it elsewhere. Maybe it's to Europe. Maybe it's to China. Hint, hint. We're going to talk about China later this week. We're going to talk about the big changes going on in China. Big changes. All of these big Western financial centers that represented the old Western aristocracy are moving. And what that teaches you guys is that the global powers that be are not married to specific nation states or cities or systems. They will change them when it behooves them to do so. I also think this is another indication the current system is crashing. They're moving it so that they can avoid that crash destroying it, essentially. Or in other words, as that crash continues to occur and the momentum builds for that, they got to rebuild a new system. This is what there is. They're rebuilding a new system. Part of that's moving, so that in moving, you have an excuse to change that system and say, oh, it's all new. It's all new and it's down here and it's different. And don't worry about all that. Because they know in people's minds, people associate things with places. So if you're associating a market with, in the financial markets with a certain place, if you're going to do the big global reset, you got to move the markets out into new places. So you can say it's all new. Really, it's just repackaged, same thing, but they got to say it's all new. And you got to move it out. So because culturally, people associate markets and money with certain financial centers. And I think that's why it's happening. I think that's the big reason, but I'm sure there's lots of other reasons. Well, more news, Texas adding high quality data centers. So Element Critical expands its Texas presence. This is on Yahoo Finance. So they're creating the data centers that will allow this trading. It will allow this data to be here to support the financial trade and to support all the companies involved in the financial trade. I worked in technology for a long time, and I worked for a company that had a lot of data centers. You want data centers right next to where you're exchanging and trading, because the distance between that data center and where you're trading, those terminals, makes a difference in profit. And companies are going to want data centers close to the markets. That's why we have these data centers being added to Texas, because if you can get the data centers close to the markets, it means that these algorithmic tradings, these computer algorithms, the software that all these markets trade on, can trade literally almost at the speed of light, because distance actually matters. Because you're talking about going across fiber, going across these hubs. There's latency in there. Latency is a computer term for how long it takes a signal to travel from one place to another. So if you're a gamer, for example, and you have very high latency, it means that somebody's shooting you before you even see them on the screen shooting you, because that information packet's not reaching your computer. Or in other words, the longer distance or the more latency between you and whatever the other side is, you can lose information. In financial trade, this equates to millions of dollars every year. So they need data centers, on high-speed lines right next to the trading markets, so that they can do these trades really quickly. And they won't lose milliseconds upon milliseconds of information and lose out to somebody else trading. That's why they do it. And not to be outdone, Tennessee gets in the act. So now we have the possibility of a second bullion depository. Okay, so think about this. You need multiple depositories in multiple states. You need to spread your physical risk out for disaster recovery purposes. and for, I don't know, other purposes, which I'll get into. I have an idea I'll get into later. I don't want to talk about it on this video, but they voted 32-0 to pass this bill to explore the bullion depository. Not a single dissenting vote. The Senate passed it 32-0. What do you think the chances are that they don't do a bullion depository in Tennessee? I think there's a very big chance. Now, the question is, why is everything moving south? Why is it moving to Tennessee, which is basically a southern state, a southeastern state, if you will, but it's considered a southern state, in Texas, which is deep south? Why? Why are we moving below like a certain parallel, a certain line going across the globe? Why? Why are you moving it south? What does that indicate about what's going on geopolitically and culturally in the United States? It's a clue. They're both moving south to southern states. What does that mean? That's something that I think we need to pay attention to. All right, here are the resources. 2 from the Texas Comptroller, 1 from the 10th Amendment Center blog, KSAT, the local NBC affiliate, I believe, if I remember correctly, and Yahoo Finance. So there you go. Those are the resources for the presentation. We are going to drop out of presentation mode and see if you guys have questions. I'm going to check how the stream's doing. Oh, the bit rate's pretty good. I'm on fiber, so we're doing pretty good. Let me see. More military bases in Tejas, Saddlebag says. Well, that could be true if the military industrial complex is going to depend upon the new financial system. It would make sense that there are military bases surrounding these bullion depositories and the data centers. That makes sense. Let's see. Real reset, silver stock rise. I think we're in a long process of the real reset. We haven't reached the climax of it yet. I think we've got a ways to go. I think things get more explosive at the climax. Yeah, Texas had good fiber networks. That is 100% true. There is an absolute mountain of fiber in Texas. Texas is a very technology enabled state, has a lot of hubs around Dallas-Fort Worth, Austin, Houston, all the big metropolitan centers. They have multiple rings, very redundant. All the big telecom carriers are out here. I 100% agree with you. I used to work in telecom. That's how I know that. Uranium companies set up in the South, UEC. Hey, UEC, I've talked about them before. Stray Dog at Play says central location security. I agree with you. If you're more inland, then it's easier to secure from ships and boats on the coast. So that could be a reason. I thought about that. I thought, that could be one of them. GG says Texas is a financial hub and free state while most of the country lives under strict COVID restrictions. That could be as well. Let's see. Do you guys have questions? Can you do a chain of custody study of silver from the miners to the end users? Chain of custody meaning, well, that'd be next. That's Cobalt Silver's question. Good question. I think it's next to impossible. I've actually looked into that. No, because especially in when you're talking Dore bars, there's no serial number. And then all you can track really the financial transactions, but they're not all reported. And they don't put chips in it when they pour the Dore bar. So you can't electronically do it. Some places might, but the vast majority don't. I've actually been to mines where they ship it off on a big truck. And sometimes it's not even Dore bar. Sometimes it's just dirt and concentrate, and it goes to another place for it pours into the Dore bar, or maybe into the bar, usually the Dore bar. And then it goes to another place where they're going to pour the pure bar. And if it's a big enough bar, they'll put a serial number on it, especially if it's going in exchange. If it's not going in exchange, it goes retail. It may not have any identifier on it. How do you track all that? I think it's different. So I think the study's been done by a lot of people that it's nearly impossible to track it from the miners all the way through, unless you're talking about one of the approved type of bars trading on the exchanges. You can track it from the refiner where that serial number is stamped to that exchange. Now, if somebody buys it off that exchange and remelts it, you lose that record. So you don't have that record. So keeping track of the chain of custody of the life cycle of gold and silver, all the many times it goes through this circular process, I think is impossible, according to my studies and also people that have asked. That's a really good question. Thank you for answering it. Request for an in-person powwow with gold, silver pros in Dallas or vicinity around January 12th to 14th. Says T. Corsi. I might just do that. We just did one in Grapevine. It was right smack dab in the middle of Dallas-Fort Worth, August 19th and 20th. That was a Money Metal Summit 2021. We were talking about doing one in another city, maybe in February, although I'm not going to say anything until we get it set up. But we've talked with some people that are interested in coming to present. And we've talked about with some potential sponsors to help us pay for it, pay for drinks and food and the venue and all that stuff. If I get it all set up, we'll have another one in February. But I'm going to save details on that till we get there. I have thought about doing a little mini roadshow series in 2022 and hitting different towns to see you guys, but we'll have to see. It's very expensive when you're talking about moving equipment and people and professional rooms and rentals, and it costs thousands of dollars to rent just a simple hotel room, for example, and audio equipment. So if I can get it all financed, we'll go on a roadshow next year. And I'm working on that now. I'm working on get sponsorships for that. So stay tuned. I might be coming to a city near you. Stray Dog at Place as a central location can mean the mint or the intent to keep it dear and Ebenezer Scrooge it. That is true as well. And all right, guys, let's see any other questions in here. Someone is planning something, that's for sure. I agree with you. Oh, Gulp 0000 says, a lot of people I share your videos with, love your information you present and expose. Thank you so much, Gulp. I appreciate that. I appreciate very much the compliment. All right, we have got other stuff to talk about, guys. We went over the Texas Bullion Depository and possibly the NASDAQ and other major exchanges moving to Texas. That is huge. That is extraordinarily huge news. We've talked about Basel III maybe moving gold out of London and de-emphasizing London as not only a gold center, but potentially a financial center as well. Big changes afoot in the world. Later this week, I'll tell you about what's going on in China, and that's going to be another one. So we're going to talk about the US, the UK, Europe, in this one, plus previous Basel videos. And then later in the week, we're going to talk about China. So we're going to cover sort of the globe here, some of the major financial trading centers and what's going on. Huge changes. And I think it's all part of the big financial reset. To me, at least that's what I think. So we are now going to take a moment and review Dumb Money Media's latest video, which I think is absolutely awesome. So let me get back here and we'll share this bad boy. He did this at the very end of August, and this is the first chance I've had to put it on air, and I loved it. It's about the Federal Reserve, so we'll get that up there. And we're going to go to, oops, I went to the wrong one. Sorry, guys, went to the wrong screen. This is the one I wanted to go with. Here we go, Dumb Money Media. So we are going to play. This is American Horror Story, the Federal Reserve posted about a week ago on Dumb Money Media's YouTube page. Everybody, please like, subscribe, and share to Dumb Money Media's channel if you like that content. He does very, very good content. Love the neat videos. Helped us out money very much. And I appreciate it. Thank you. And there we go. Appreciate it, Dumb Money Media, for your contribution. We'll get back and see if you guys have questions, because this is a Q&A. And this is, guys, a live stream. I want you guys to ask questions, and we will interact. And I'll answer as many as I can. Thank you so much. And remember that the super chats are open if you really want to grab my attention. Patrick Berry says, thanks, Rob. That was great. Bedtime now. You are welcome, although we're not quite done. We've got a little bit more to go. So those of you want to hang on, hang on. Where was the depository that George Soros was connected to? Question from full name. I do not know, to be honest with you. If somebody knows, please put that in the chat. I would be interested in knowing as well. That is the depository that George Soros was connected to. Foo Bear says, big lakes in Texas for boating accidents. We lose our medal. Gee darn, sorry. Yes to the big changes in China. I see it, says Kenneth Martin. Thank you very much. Costs are rising substantially, including payroll costs. Ray Call, that is absolutely correct. And it's rising in the mining sector as well as every sector. Are you going to be at Rebel Capitalist Pro in Houston, says T. Corsi? No, I don't think I will be, because I've got traveled to some other places. One of the things I'll get into, at least I don't think I'm going to make it down there. I'll try to if I can, but my schedule for the next 2 months is pretty challenging through the end of October. Tell me when the Rebel Capitalist Pro is in Houston. I think somebody sent that to me earlier this year, and I just haven't had a chance to really go through it. If it's after October, I may have a shot at getting down there. Fazdal says, oh, saw the video of you relating my story about shouting at the bankers when I was 8 years old. Thanks. You're welcome, Fazdal. That was an awesome comment. Appreciate it. Happy to put on there. Not many media. Haha, I hope that vid made sense. I try to cliff note as much as possible. Make sure to grab that loot box when you get a chance to. Oh, yeah, good time to announce it. I will grab the loot box. We did some giveaways at the conference, and I want to announce it. So we got our hats in. This is the hat that we gave away, like 10 of these things at the conference. It says, keep stacking gold, silver pros. Well, I finally did get back in town and got these hats. So these will go out to all the winners. I've got the spreadsheet. I'll try to get those out in the next couple of days to you guys. And I have a whole stack of shiny silver here given out to you guys. There's a couple of people that won 5 ounces of silver because my account manager went nuts and gave 5 ounces instead of 1, which is okay. So you lucky guys will get 5 of these beautiful buffalo Indian head buffalo coins, 1 ounce silver coins, and several of you won the 1 ounce as well. So all that silver and the hats that we gave away from the Money Metal Summit 2021 on the 19th and 20th. I just got back in town, guys. Sorry for that. But we will, and just got the order of hats in. So we will send all of that out this week. So hopefully be expecting it by next week. We'll get that out to you guys. And thank you so much for attending as well, the conference. I've got another announcement to make. This is a good one. It's where you guys can come see me in person again if you want to. So we're going to go back to the share. So I'm going to be at the Stockpole Silver Symposium in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, at the Coeur d'Alene Golf and Spa Resort. This is from September 27th to 28th. I'll be there as one of the featured presenters. So if you go to the featured presenter page, I am on here. If you scroll down, I'll be there with David Morgan, David Smith, Economic Ninja, Jeff Clark, Jordan Roy Byrne, Lobo Tigre, Jeffrey Christian, Earl Bennett, Virginia Gillerman, Michael DiRenzio, Mark Yaxley, Peter Spina, Dan McCracken, Bob Coleman, Mark Compton, Brian London, who runs the New Orleans Investment Conference, by the way, and David Erfel, who runs Junior Miner Junkie. So I'll be one of the featured speakers there. I'm going to go over my schedule real quick in case you want to see me. On Monday, September 27th, I believe in the afternoon, I'm going to be doing a panel discussion. I'll be hosting that. Cryptocurrency versus bullion. And with me will be representative from Load, Sunshine Minting, David Smith from the Morgan Report, Mark Yaxley, and Bob Coleman. So if you want to see me in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, you can go to the Golf and Spa Resort there in Coeur d'Alene at 3:10. You can see me on that Monday. On Tuesday, September 28th, in the morning, I'm going to be doing my own presentation. And I've got an idea what I want to do it on. I think it'll be really good. I will be there as well. And then not only that, but I've been told that I will be at this expert panel meet, greet, and eat, which is a paid thing where you get in, you pay, you get to sit in front of the panel, ask questions. We talk about things. You get dinner in an open bar for $129. If you guys are interested, it's totally up to you. I'll be there with these 7 other gentlemen talking about the markets at the Silver Symposium. Hope to see you guys there. I'm really excited about it. On LinkedIn, if you follow us on the Gold Silver Pros LinkedIn page, we have a little Silver Symposium, live event thing set up there where you can go in and we'll put information about what we'll be doing at the conference. We're also going to be running some little promos there at the conference too. So if you come by and speak to us in Coeur d'Alene at the Silver Symposium, we'll have some giveaways there too. We'll run some fun games. You can meet me in person at certain times. We'll post all of that on our LinkedIn page. So if you go to Gold Silver Pros LinkedIn, we'll post where I'll be, when I'll be during the conference. If you want to reach out and meet me in person and have a good conversation, would be happy to see you guys there. I think that's just about all the announcements I have for today, ladies and gentlemen. I think I've gone through just about everything. We've done the Texas Bullion Depository. So let's sum. Texas Bullion Depository and NASDAQ and other financial exchanges may move to Texas along with the derivative trade out of New York and potentially Chicago, I guess. That ties into Basel III, I think, pulling some of the gold trade out of New York and into potentially Europe and even China. And then we also talked about me being Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. We talked about the giveaways that I'm going to be sending to you guys from the conference. Any last questions? Love your work, dude. Thanks, T. Corsi. You are absolutely welcome. Send me an email and let me know when that Rebel Capitalist is there, and I might go down there. I might go down there in Houston if I can. George Soros, Kyle Bass, Eric Sprott, Peter Schiff, and Dylan Gage have weaseled into administrative roles at the Texas Gold Depository, and UTIMCO is his full name. Okay, interesting comment. Thank you. We have John Williams from Shadows Test on the channel, Gulp 0000. I had him last year. I haven't had him back on. I need to reach back out to him. We have inflation. It's perfect time to put him on. That's a good guest suggestion. It's been, oh gosh, I think it's been a year since he's been on the channel. I think it was summer of last year. I remember because I was traveling at that time, and I remember it's been over a year. It's been a year and probably 2 or 3 months. I'll have him back on the channel. That'll be fun. SNK714 says, hi, Rob. I won silver at your event, but didn't give my address for shipping. So SNK714, email me at robert@goldsilverpros.com with the username that you used at the conference, and we'll match it up with the known winners, because we took the username and the first and last name of people at the conference if they gave it, and that's how I'll match you up. So send that information to me, and we'll make sure you get your stuff. All right, guys, I do not see any other questiones in the chat. No questiones, and we've been going for 40 strong minutes. You guys are not just hitting me up with everything. Maybe I'm doing enough of these lives. I'm answering your questions. Well, that could be good news. Thank you, everybody, for supporting the program. Please remember to subscribe and hit that notification bell. And if you want alerts via email, go to my website, click on the newsletter button, put in your email address for free notifications there as well. I think that's going to do it, guys. Thank you so much for participating in the live stream. I love doing this. I may do more live streams than pre-recorded material from now on. This is just fun. One thing I want to announce also, last little bit of housekeeping. I don't think I'm going to do live streams on Sunday anymore, just because it interrupts the things that I do on the weekend. Not that I don't love you guys, but I think we're going to do live streams during the week, and we're going to put some pre-recorded content up on Sundays. What I think we're going to do this Sunday, and this is a note to my social media manager, Danny, who I know is watching, we're going to put some of the conference content from Money Mental Summit up. We put 2 videos up. We're going to continue to put those up. So we'll do some pre-recorded content on Sunday. Tune in Sunday for that. We had such a great conference, such great stuff at the conference. We want to get those out to you so that you guys can see it if you didn't happen to be there in person or attend the live stream of that as well. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining the channel. Thank you, Peter Fraulein, for joining the channel. I noticed you sneaking in there as well. Good to see you here. Thank you so much, guys. If you have any questions for me, hit me up at Robert Gold Silver Pros. Till next time, this is Robert Gold Silver Pros. We will see you